round by Carlton history, which is an opportune time and place for us to discuss some of the great recruiting coups of all time of the Carlton Football Club. I know you've mentioned in passing, great player he was too, and I believe supported Carlton, didn't make it. He was Michael O'Loughlin.
Yeah. Yeah.
What were the circumstances?
I have nightmares about that one. Absolute nightmares. Yeah, and he gives it to me every time there's a big function. He knows I'm there. He really gives it to me. But we that was the Scott Camperelli draft, and so we got Campo, I think, at pick 13, and I really loved Michael, but I thought, we could pick him up in round 3, and we took a young fella from Eastern Suburbs, Eastern Rangers, Mark Cullen. And anyway, Ricky Barham's then picked Michael, and bad. And Mark, nothing against Mark, but we if we had got Camperelli, O'Loughlin, and we got Hamill, I could have put the feet up for a while.
There was a play for Port Adelaide, Shane, Warren Treadray, who, as a Carlton supporter, still gives me nightmares because he seemed to save his best for Carlton. Yet he could have been here as well. What happened there?
Well, when they were coming into the competition, where's Lofts again? Was really keen to try to get Warren Treadray, and we met the then CEO Brian Cunningham. And I don't know if this great player at Carlton has ever known, but at that stage we were prepared to swap Craig Bradley for a Warren Treadray.
Really?
But anyway. They were interested in Braddles, but not to swap for Warren Treadray. So, as I said, I've never known if Braddles ever eventually found out about that. He'd probably be horrified. So, we thank goodness we kept Braddles as well, and Warren ended up, but he always seemed to play well against us, didn't he?
Craig might have been party of that because Chris Davies tells me that Craig, having played 100 games there, still has a soft spot for Port.
Oh, I think he played 99 or something.
Amazing career.
Yeah.
We talked earlier about the father-son, and Brett Thornton, I think, has a kid going around that's showing a little bit of promise.
Yeah.
Again, Brett coming to Carlton was something that involved your good self.
Yeah, well, that was a pre-season pick as well. And I always feel, sorry for Brett in lots of ways when he come to the club because I don't think he gets the kudos that he deserves. He come to the club and he should have been comparing him to say like a Michael Sexton, who when he come to the club was getting the third sort of forward. And when Brett come, he ended up getting the Wayne Careys, all the good the top players. So sometimes I feel he was a bit maligned, but to me he was a really good player, and I think he I forget how many games he played, but it was certainly a lot of games, and he's got a young fella that's coming through that looks pretty good, but Brett was really sort of gave his heart and soul all the time. In fact, it's a bit. He was contract and was keen to go to Hawthorn, but we stuck to our guns and said, "Look, you're not going." And at the end of the day, he was happy to stay. But sometimes those pre-season picks end up as good as the early draft picks because they get a bit hungrier. And he certainly was one of those, and had a great career
here. And I understand to this day you still aren't sure why Bruce elected to go to North ahead of Carlton.
Yeah, no, just never really got the right answer. But I must admit it was the biggest shock to everyone. We virtually only just got back and found out 4 or 5 hours later playing for North Melbourne.
When you look back on your time as a recruiter, by and large, do you look back at it with great fondness? Do you miss those days?
Oh yeah, it was, as I said before, it was best part of working in footy. I think out and about and sort of trying to sort of get players to your club, and that was and I do miss it. Like sometimes I'll go with Paul Brodie and watch a game when the footy's like this time of the year, but I don't miss all the, what they do these days, like, recording, like, going through everything and all the stats. And it was more, your eye and your gut feel and all that, where now it's, God, everything gets, sort of calculated sort of thing. So, and I think probably overall, they don't make as many mistakes as perhaps we might have over the time. Perhaps it was a bit too much gut feel at times. Like, one player I really sort of feel for that we picked here was Murray Vance. He was really sort of going to get a game in the first game, and we played a practice match out at Waverley against Fremantle, and Clive Waterhouse come through and elbow busted his jaw. Just was never the same sort of player.
Have you ever sat down and thought about your time in the game, how many games of football you've actually seen, and how many kilometres you've actually travelled?
Yeah, I mean, 45 years, it's a lot. I've certainly seen a lot of coaches, a lot of general managers, football managers as well. But but look, you know what? It's gone quick, but I'd love to be starting again. It's just pretty special to work. I look back on that very first trip I went to Hobart and sitting there watching footy during the week thinking, this is my job. Just how lucky you are. And that particular time, I remember Noel Judkins walking past me and said, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm sitting here, I've got my notebook and all that. Come with me. And we went around the other side, and here's all the other 10 or 11 clubs. And you end up forming good relationships with those guys, because it's a lonely, when you're interstate, it's good to sort of come together with some people, have some dinner and things. So and being new at the game, it really helped me learn a bit about what to look for a bit. Not that they'd tell you everything, but you just learnt a bit more about what to look for and things like that. So it was but it's gone too damn quick, Tone.
It has. It's good come and gone in a blink.
It has.